hanging out and talking with other doctors. Lawyers, architects, all of them, okay? Teachers, by our nature, tend to be incredibly isolated. There's all sorts of analogies and models of this. They talk about U.S. classrooms being like egg crates. Like somehow, we're not allowed to touch each other. We all work in our little compartments, isolated from each other. And the only times they bring us together is when the agenda is driven by others, rarely by us. And it's not about, hey, what do you need and what have you figured out, because I might need that, or I might have figured out how to get you what you need, and you might have figured out how to get me what I need. So part of our conversation over this beginning of this conversation, hopefully larger, is this notion of what it means to work as part of a profession. And that's something that, if we're truly going to make this work better, we need to take with us all the time, not just when we come together with CMC. So a little sort of interlude, not interlude as in you're going to take a break, but we are going to take a break. But there are a few points that I wanted to go back and hit a little bit more strongly, and specifically around this idea of how isolated we are in our work very often, and how isolating this work can feel. This was something that was sort of brought out in a conversation that I had when I was at Vanderbilt, and one of the researchers said, I don't know how teachers can stand the fact that the only validation you get is depending on children on a daily basis to make you feel like you did a good job. How in the world can you survive as a profession when that's the only kind of feedback you get? He said, I constantly am talking with other researchers. I constantly am talking with other people who work with the same level of work that I do. And so the validation I get is from other really knowledgeable professionals who have the capacity and the knowledge to judge the work I'm doing from a perspective of understanding, not from a perspective of or not so much, right? And it really is very, very isolating work. It really, really is sort of bizarre work that we depend on kids to make us feel like we're doing a good job or not. So this idea about it being solitary, as I said, you need people around you, but I'm going to give you an extra task. How many of you can identify a mentor? Whether they were a formal mentor or somebody that you think of when you think about who you want to be in your work, or some aspect of who you've become in your work, that you can identify somebody who has sort of given you an image of what that might look like, or helped to lift you up. Anybody? All right, most of us. Most of us actually at some point had somebody who thought we were more capable than we thought of ourselves. Anybody had that experience? Somebody tasked you with something and you thought, what the hell are you thinking giving me that? Who thought this was a good idea? And then, because you actually respected the person, you stepped up and did it because you couldn't bear to let them down, right? And then you realized, oh, I actually could do that. Who knew? Well, your mentor did, because they saw capacity, they saw potential, and they knew that you weren't going to develop that potential unless given the opportunity to act on it. Now let's put it back to what we need to do for others. Another hallmark of a profession, they find their proteges. Somebody who looks to you as a mentor. Because if you don't, you're not for you to do, because it means the next generation of teachers have to invent this all over again, and we can't keep spending our energy doing that. It's not effective. It means we never make progress. We just keep building the same thing over and over again. And the next generation deserves to build something better based on what we've figured out. And the next generation of people coming behind us need to benefit from the things we've figured out. So if you don't already have a protege, and I'm not saying that you're going to sort of, walk up to some young kid in the